Let's get ready to get crazy! Oh
Yes!
my goodness. On today's episode, we will be discussing Conan coming back to the Academy Awards for next year, Colin Farrell double dipping in the DC Universe, and then Happy Gilmore 2's trailer, and then, of course, so much freaking more that's happening in Hollywood. Dustin, my man, how are we feeling this weekend?
I am feeling a little madness. That's right, because it's March and the madness is happening and Michigan is rolling. We got through to the first round. Now we're moving on, baby. How are you guys doing with your brackets? Couple of mine busted, couple of them still alive, so we'll see. And I got to tell you, my man, and I'm so happy because we're going to talk about it a little way down. See, I know you and I both when we get to our top five, but whoo, anybody that was doubting Daredevil, not anymore. Not anymore. The latest episode, bam! So I'm kind of pumped, my man. I'm feeling good. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready for basketball. I'm ready for the show. I'm ready for I'm feeling good.
Oh, the craziness is here, man.
Yes.
That is for sure. So, let's dive into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
It was good.
movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, episode 289 is here, and you guys know your host with the most, myself, J. Logan Austin, aka J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mouth, aka Dustin M. Bergman.
Yes, what's up?
Man, oh man, it's gonna be a great freaking show. We're super excited about it, but before we dive into it, be sure to leave a comment below, leave a rating on this podcast, comment below, and let us know what you actually think about ITCAFpodcast, because if you did not know, leaving a rating on the podcast or comment or a like, anything like that, actually helps up-and-comers find our podcast more easily. And that's what we need, man. We're all about lending the helping hand to the up-and-comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. And plus, we got the latest and greatest news for just people who love pop culture news. So we are here for you. That is for sure. So be sure to do that, like I said. And again, thank you so much, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. But man, I'm super excited that we have some great merchandise available on our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. You see the shirts, you see the hats, you see anything and everything that we have available right here, right now at crazyantmedia.com. And please be sure to take advantage of all the promotional sales. That's why you got to follow us at all of the accounts, because we talk about the promotional sales. So be sure to take advantage. Like I said, be sure to follow us.
April, packed with promotional sales. Packed with some sales going on in April. I may or may not have ordered me a new ITCAF podcast shirt.
There we go.
Yeah, it might be sporting next week. You might see it. It says Tuesday, so we'll see.
Right?
They're usually pretty good about hitting the dates they say it's coming, so you will see it when it gets here, I promise.
Yes, we love it. We love it. Well, something that I don't love, of course, we're starting off with Disney.
Yes.
Snow White,
I'm
of
loving
course, it's been scattered with freaking controversy. Everybody's talking about Godot versus Ziegler. And then, what do the I don't want to call them little people. That is not what they are. The dwarves, the freaking guys. Yes. Anyway, let's jump into it. Disney's Thursday previews figure for Snow White came in at about $3.5 million. This is early post-track, and it is showing 5 stars with kids under 12, though, so that's nice. That's nice. But for those kids who saw it last night, it was 84% girls under the age of 12. Now, the film's general audience is ranking in about 3 stars. Now, Snow White does carry a high level of awareness at about 94%. Meaning the audiences know that the movie is out there. Disney did a fantastic job of promoting the film, that is for sure. But, however, the tracking for the level of interest in wanting to see the film is really low, guys. It's at 39%. Now, where does this put Disney's original princess? Because if you guys didn't know, she is the original princess.
She is the first.
Well, The Mark Webb directed musical is above the $2.3 million previews of the 2019's Maleficent Mistress of Evil. Now, 18% of a 12.5 Friday for a 3-day of the $36.9 million over the weekend, as well as Dumbo's 2.6 Thursday night previews. Now that's like a 17% with a like 15.2 Friday. For the 3-day, it ended up being about 46 million. Now both were actually Disney's feature adaptations, of course, of their beloved animated picks. The success of this $270 million production is going to boil down to whether or not families with daughters are going to go Friday and Saturday. And I'm fingers crossed, man, fingers crossed. If you have a daughter, please, for me, go see the film. I would love that. If y'all don't know, if you haven't been keeping up with the show, it is on my box office draft. Dustin gave it to me in our final picks. And man, oh man, you might have done a good job. I'm hoping not, but you might have.
Yeah, I think even if it comes out on the high end of what they're hoping for the weekend, it's still going to be a disaster. I think this thing is going to crash and burn. Remember when we talked about last week on last week's show that I thought it would come out as strong as it could the first weekend and then just die? It certainly seems that way. If it gets anything, it's going to be this first weekend, and it doesn't look like it's going to be much, and then it's going to die. I'm sorry, but I just think it's got no legs. Apparently, but 39%. That's it. Apparently, 70% of the country doesn't want to see it. So good luck, man. I feel like this was a wise pick for me to saddle you with. That's all I'm saying.
It was.
I mean, so, I feel for you. I do, but then not so much because, yeah. Hey, some good news, though. I think we're both excited about this one. Bob let this one slip. Disney and Pixar are returning to the land of the dead for Coco 2. Yeah! CEO Bob Iger announced the follow-up film during the company's annual shareholder meeting. Now, the sequel, which is in early development process, is slated for theatrical release in, here's where it's not exciting, 2029. Whew, we got a little bit before we see it. Plot details haven't been revealed, but we do know this. Coco director Lee Unkrich is returning to direct with Adrian Molina. Now, Mark Nielsen, a Pixar veteran known for Toy Story 4 and Inside Out 2, will produce this bad boy. If in case you didn't know, the original 2017 film became a critical and commercial smash, winning 2 Oscars, of course, while grossing over $800 million at the global box office. The story, again, if you didn't know, follows 12-year-old Miguel, who dreams of playing the guitar despite his family's generations-old ban on music. On the Mexican holiday of Dia de los Muertos, he ventures to the land of the dead to uncover the real story of his ancestors. It was a really fun film. It was great. Wow, though, it's a long time in between sequels.
12 years is wild, man.
Here we go, though. I think this is a good one. I think this was a smart move to move forward with this. It's a safe move. They're banking on intellectual property that made good. But, if you're going to do it. And I think this is a smart move.
Completely agree. Yeah. I mean, what Disney does best is banking on their already established IP.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't knock them for that because it is heavily beloved. You have so many franchises, so many characters that everybody loves that are coming out of Disney.
Iger addressed it at the shareholders meeting. He's like, look, I know what we're doing. I know. He said, but with the state of the economy the way it is and the box office, we have to go with what is safe. Because he was apparently asked why such big names for Fantastic Four. Because Marvel in the past had always been credited for picking either actors that were on dried up, nobody wanted anymore, or unknowns, like with Tom Holland, picking Tom Holland out of nowhere. And he said, again, safe. We know people will show up to see Pedro. Like, he's being honest about it, and I don't blame him. Like you said, they have a beloved vault of IP that they know works. So maybe not Snow White, but the rest of it, so I can't blame the guy for playing safe. You got to do what you got to do to get through this little whatever we're going through with the economy and the box office. So
Completely agree, man. Completely agree. Well, the film that did make me change my mind about Timothée Chalamet, because Emily now makes fun of me because I want to go back and watch all of Timothée Chalamet's movies.
Oh, oh,
I
oh.
know, right?
I don't
This is
know
where
about
I'm
all
at now.
that, but you know.
This is where I'm at. Okay, I had to come to Jesus moment, and I'm like, okay. It was really the SAG Awards acceptance speech.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and him being like, I want to be one of the greats. I competed with the greats, and thank you, blah blah blah. But I mean, this film specifically definitely did change my mind. Of course, The Complete Unknown is a biopic about Bob Dylan, and guess what? It's headed to Hulu. That's right. It earned 8 Academy Award nominations, if you didn't know, including Best Picture, and then, of course, grossed about $127 million worldwide at the box office. Now, you're wondering, when is it headed to Hulu?
Yes.
Well, not long at all. That's right. March 27th, you can start watching the film on the streaming platform. Now, of course, this film does take place in the 60s as Bob Dylan, played by Call Me By Your Baby name, or Call Me By Your Name baby star Timothée Chalamet, who takes on New York City and causes a rift in the musical community after he challenges the lines between folk and electric music. Now, of course, other notable actors that were in this bad boy: Edward Norton, who played Pete Seeger, who became his mentor, Bob Dylan's mentor, during the whole process. And then there was a little rift because you'll have to watch the film. And then,
Yes.
of course, Monica Barbero plays Joan Baez in the film as well. If you don't know, Joan Baez is a singer-songwriter whom falls in love with Bob Dylan, and they have a nice little fling there, off and on, off and on. Very Ross and Rachel, but you know. But I'm super excited about this because I'm super ready to watch this film again. Not
Yeah.
even gonna lie.
No, me too. Once it hits, I'm watching it. I thought it was a beautiful film, and I'm all in. The music gets you, and it's like great performances. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And hey, kids, are you struggling? Just barely getting by? Well, apparently that's okay because 1% is good enough. A 1% uptick is apparently more than enough to get Conan another gig. That's right. After his reception at this year's Academy Awards, MC Conan O'Brien will apparently return to the Dolby Theater for the 98th Oscars on March 15th, 2026. That announcement comes from Bill Kramer, Academy CEO, and Janet Yang, the Academy president, who also confirmed the return of the Emmy-winning producing team, Raj Kapoor and Katie Mulan, who will lead the show for the third consecutive year. Now, using his signature humor, O'Brien quipped in a statement when it was released, "The only reason I'm hosting the Oscars next year is I want to hear Adrian Brody finish his speech." Oh, great. I love that. I love it. The move only makes sense, though, because as we told you in our Oscar recap, this year's ceremony, held earlier this month, did deliver the highest viewership numbers in 5 years. It drew 19.69 million viewers and had a dominant presence on social media, racking up 104.2 million interactions, which surpassed both the Grammys and the Super Bowl in online engagement. Now, the 98th Oscars will air live on ABC on Sunday, March 15th, 2026 at 7 p.m., so gear in because it probably won't get over until 11. From the Dolby Theater at Ovation Hollywood. Okay. I want him to have a second shot at it because I think it could have been better and it wasn't his fault. So I want to see what he does if they come out and he gets another opportunity and we can just kind of go. You know, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also feel like the Academy is in a position to where they are like, okay, he didn't do bad and there was a 1% uptick. Let's just keep him around. Let's just keep him around. There's no reason not to hire him again. And other than, a couple of different fan theories of who they want to host the Oscars,
Right.
they're like, might as well just let him come back. And I mean, like you said, he did pretty well in the position that he was in and the segments that he did. Again, I think it's a redemption arc, that's for sure.
Nobody's unwanted name was in anybody's mouth. Nobody got slapped. Nobody was. It's good. Conan did all right. So, let him come. Let him come.
Exactly. Well, we were talking about casting announcements earlier, and we're talking about one now. Chris O'Donnell has been cast in a lead role in the upcoming ABC's drama spin-off series 911 Nashville. Of course, it is a spinoff of 911, which was originally announced in February, with the show scheduled to debut during the 2025-26 broadcast season. Now, of course, plot details are scarce, but the show will follow the lives of the first responders in the title city of Tennessee. Man, oh man. O'Donnell, of course, will star as Captain Don Sharp, who is described as a rugged fire captain and rodeo rider who runs Nashville's busiest firehouse with his beloved son. Don's a devoted husband and family man, but he has his secrets. 911 Nashville will be executive produced by Ryan Murphy. 911 star Angela Bassett, Minier, and Rashad Rashini, who both serve as writers alongside Murphy and Falchuk. 20th Century Television, where Murphy has, of course, an overall deal with this studio. So, yeah, very interesting. And it's so funny. Every time we read these casting announcements, I always feel like we're reading an obituary. Hopefully, that doesn't mean how successful the show will be. But, I think this is a well oiled machine. It's kind of like the Law and Orders and the Chicago's. So, I think this will continue moving forward.
I hope. I mean, they do seem to all be. This just seems like, though, it's like Rob Lowe and the gang didn't all want to come back. This just seems like this would have been the continuation. He bought a horse at the end of that show, 911 Lone Star. He, of course, ran the busiest station with his son. This sounds very much like, well, they don't want to come back, so let's just move it to Tennessee and have a different dad and son and keep going. I hope... I hope it's not that. I hope it's a full-on different type story, but it sure sounds familiar. And just in case you guys are wondering where Chris O'Donnell's partner from CSI is, he's going back to the mothership. He's going back, NCIS, he's going back to the original. Sorry, I said CSI, I meant NCIS. Same letters everywhere. Yeah, apparently his character's going back, so don't worry about LL. LL's fine. He's going to be great. Speaking of a move that I don't think anybody saw coming, but makes total sense, we're jumping over to Fox, and apparently American Dad could be airing there again. Yep. 20th Century Animation, 20th Century Television and Fox Entertainment are nearing a deal to bring the long-running animated sitcom back to the broadcast network. Why do I say back? Because it launched on Fox originally way back in 2005. Now, the deal would most likely be a multi-season pickup. The show has aired for nearly 400 episodes to date. News of the Fox deal comes as American Dad is, of course, preparing to air its last original episodes on TBS, which has been the show's home since 2014. So, okay, let's just send it back to where it launched. I mean... most people think FX and Fox are the same thing anyway, so I mean, is it really gonna matter? Disney, it matters to Disney, because it's, but hey, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so funny. It's just McFarlane being McFarlane, that's for sure. They're killing it. They're killing it. Well, we are jumping over to the bunny, Warner Brothers Discovery, where Colin Farrell may be double dipping in the DC universe, like we teased a little bit earlier. The Penguin star is circling the lead in Sergeant Rock. Now, this is a comic book adaptation by Luca Guadagnino. Daniel Craig was once being eyed for the role, but a source with knowledge of the project noted that the actor never formally committed to making it before dropping out of consideration back in February.
Yep.
Now, scheduling for the film, which Farrell does want to do, we hear has to be balanced with his busy fall schedule. That, of course, includes the second season of Apple TV's Sugar and Edward Berger's movie The Ballad of the Small Player. Now, no details are out right now, but we will be definitely keeping an eye on this story because he did say he had an amazing experience on the Penguin set. The only thing, obviously, that would be annoying or super time consuming is the prosthetics and the makeup. And this will be way less of that. And I believe anyway, I don't know much about the character, but I mean, I feel like Colin Farrell, he is making a nice resurgence in his career, that's for sure. So I'm excited to see what happens with this story.
Yeah, no, I like this. And, James Gunn and Peter Safran have made clear that it's all connected, right? But Penguin is not. Penguin is the Elseworlds thing.
Yes.
And plus, it doesn't really matter anyway, because if you watched Penguin, and I know you did, you couldn't even tell it was Colin Farrell. The prosthetics and the makeup were so extreme that when you see him as Sergeant Rock, like, it's just going to be his normal face. So there's no confusing Penguin with Sergeant Rock. I think this is a safe move. I think he'll kill it in the role. I think it's going to be great. I also think this one's going to be great because we're all fans of this guy, and I think he always does well. Jonah Hill. He's apparently circling to headline, write, and direct Cutoff for Warner Brothers. Now, the movie we hear is about two rich siblings who are cut off from their parents. It's early days of the project, hence there are no cast attachments yet, other than him, because apparently he wants to, star in it as well. The production went ahead and notched a $10 million California tax credit for what's expected to be a $49 million budget, production budget. That's not bad, really. I mean, now, is that before casting? Because they said they don't have any cast yet. That seems kind of low. But we'll see. Cutoff is apparently planning to shoot this summer. So I'm assuming over the next couple of weeks, we'll be having some casting announcements if it's starting to shoot in a few weeks. Like, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. And I was trying to look it up on IMDb real quick. I believe this is his first film that he'll be directing since mid-90s.
Yeah.
That came out probably like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah.
But he did amazing in that role, and I'm really hoping that he makes more of a move behind the camera. He always said that he became an actor so that he could make established contacts so
Right.
that he can step into the director's chair, and which it's funny because he wanted to be a theatrical director at first, but now he's making the more transition into the television or the film world.
This will be like his third one overall, right? As a director, like you said,
I think his third. I think the first was a short film in the mid-90s, and then now this this one. So I'm excited about it. I'm a big fan of Jonah Hill, and I'm excited to see what happens. I really think he's got a niche asset to him to where he could be like a alternative Ben Affleck type of guy.
Sure.
So I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping.
Yep.
Well, everybody wants to catch that damn bird in Looney Tunes, okay? But apparently, nobody on Warner Brother Discovery's team cares anymore.
No,
because the original Looney Tunes animated shorts, which ran during the golden age of animation back from 1930 to 1969, has been completely wiped from Warner Brothers Discovery owns Max, the streaming service. Now, a rep from the studio confirmed that the original shorts are no longer on Max, period. This is part of a new plan whereby the streamer will prioritize adult and family programming. I'm sorry, what? Children's programming such as Looney Tunes and Sesame Street before it doesn't fare well and is no longer viewed as a priority. Bad decision. The decision is not a surprising one, though, but it is a departure from previous maneuvers. Back in 2023, Max clarified that the classic cartoon was not leaving the platform after an enormous list of titles being removed in December, including program on it. Now, that's talking about original content and things like that. The move to scrub the Looney Tunes from Max comes amid the past week's release of The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes story, the first fully animated feature-length project receiving a theatrical opening in the franchise. Now, the movie was originally greenlit for Max specifically, not even theatrical. However, when Warner Brothers Discovery took it over, the straight-to-streaming movie wasn't deemed a priority and now sold to Catch-Up Entertainment out of the American film market. You want to prioritize family programming and then you take away some of your very established IP that you've been highly underutilizing for the past decade. Y'all are wild. That is my opinion.
Yeah, while it might not be the same as Disney in the sense that, Disney was built on Mickey and Warner Brothers was not built on Bugs Bunny, but
it wasn't.
But Looney Tunes and all of those characters saved the studio. They were what kept the studio afloat during the war when everybody was going bankrupt and everybody was struggling. Looney Tunes shorts in the theaters are what kept that historic studio afloat. So to not recognize the importance of what they mean to the studio just goes to show you what we've been saying all along. He doesn't give a fuck about Warner
Nothing.
Brothers history. It's all about discovery, where he came from. It's like what works, what can we put on Max within Warner Brothers Discovery that worked on Discovery that now will work on Max. And I think I'm right there with you. I think it's a huge mistake. Apparently though, Catch Up Entertainment is now I think they're trying to buy the John Cena, Wile E. Coyote, and Roadrunner film that Zaslav shelved as well and get that out there. So you know, I think it'll have to depend on how well this Looney Tunes, you know, The Day the Earth Blew Up does before they spend money on it. But I mean, you know, at least somebody cares about getting it out there because, I mean, that's historic. Looney Tunes, who doesn't love Looney Tunes for crying? I mean, come on. You can't get, just.
Well, and it's so crazy too because like you go to the Warner Brothers lot, you go for tours, whatever have you. There's still like huge statues of Bugs Bunny
Yeah.
and fucking yeah. I just it's so freaking rough, man. Daffy and Bugs, I feel like are, you know, Mickey and Pluto or Mickey and Goofy or
Without
Mickey and
doubt.
Donald. Like, you know, like I just they're I don't even understand. They talk about how they want to compete and then they forever long always fumble. Like so it's hard to watch sometimes, man.
I'm right there with you. I mean, talk about established property that they could be using. Looney Tunes.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, it just, I don't get it.
No.
I don't get it.
It
The
hurts.
Animaniacs were like Looney Tunes, basically, of the Warners, right? Like
Yes.
the iconic water tower, the whole like. I don't know. Let's jump on over to another studio where we still don't quite know what's going on with Skydance or anything else, and we don't know. But what we do know is that Scott Eastwood, yes, that Clint Eastwood's son, who has quite the career, obviously, of his own now, is joining the mushrooming cast of Paramount's Regretting You, opposite Allison Williams, Dave Franco, McKenna Grace, Mason Thames, and Willa Fitzgerald. Now, this pick is based on Colleen Hoover's 2019 best-selling novel, The Author, an EP with Williams, Franco, and Grace. The movie hit cinemas on October 24th. What's about? Well, Regretting You is set against a shocking car wreck which takes the lives of two family members. The event unlocks a series of secrets, lies, and regrets. The people left behind can't move forward without looking at the past. The story explores what's left behind after a tragedy, the messiness, the grief, but also the beauty of life and love. Now, Josh Boone, The Fault in Our Stars and Stuck in Love, is directing and adapted the recent draft, which was first penned by Susan McMartin, who, of course, wrote After. I think this is good. That you know, we talk about all the time on the mental health podcast and everything. You know, grief and loss can fuck you up. I mean, so it's good that a movie is going to approach it and talk about it and get it out there to start conversations. I hope it's entertaining. It's a stellar cast, so I hope it works. I hope it does well, and I hope it. You know, I'm in. I'm gonna watch it.
Completely agree. It does sound very interesting, and I mean, you know, we're huge Eastwood fans.
Oh,
in
yeah.
general, so I think, yeah, I'm excited and much anticipated. Much anticipated. Well, Joan Ratter and Tony Flane, co-creators and executive producers of CBS's popular drama Fire Country and its upcoming spin-off series Sheriff Country, have both signed a first look deal producing with the studio behind the franchise, CBS Studio. Now, under this pact, the duo will develop and produce series through their company, Midwest Livestock Inc. Now, they will continue to work with their longtime associate, Kate Wagner, who has been promoted from manager to vice president of development. Kudos to her. Congratulations. Now, Ratter and Fleen have separate writing producing deals for their services on Fire Country and Sheriff Country, both of which they co-created and executive produced with the Fire Country star Max Therdo. whose real life experiences inspired the Mothership series. Now, Fire Country was recently renewed for its fourth season, while Sheriff Country, originated as a Fire Country planted spinoff, of course, is set to launch in the 2025-26 broadcast season. So very exciting. I definitely feel like, this is CBS's and Paramount's way of being like, look, guys, we can do other things, but Taylor Sheridan shows. Look at us, and I mean they are successful.
No,
So
yeah,
I'm
totally.
excited to see where Sheriff Country goes, and I really need to catch up on Fire Country because I love Max. But yeah, man, so much good stuff out there right now, so it's hard to like stay on track of things.
I'm glad they're just getting their stuff out there and it's being successful. I think NBC bailed way too fast on Council of Dads, which was
Yeah.
also them. You know, they've had some shows that didn't get the opportunity to grow and find an audience. So CBS giving that to them, and look what happens. I mean, Fire Country's huge. And I will say, Fire Country is one of those shows where each season it gets better and better. The characters are developing so beautifully. The story is developing beautifully. There's weaving in and out cast members, and it's just stellar. This season, by far, my favorite, and it's I love it. So it's a good, smart move by CBS. Another smart move, Tulsa King. It's apparently been officially renewed for a third season at Paramount Plus, which I'm glad because it ended on a cliffhanger and I would have been pissed. The Sylvester Stallone-led series, of course, is heading back into production in Atlanta and Oklahoma. And get this, Robert Patrick and Bo Knapp from SEAL have joined the series regulars cast. Yeah, they're going to be regulars for season 3. Now, the mob drama, of course, which launched in 2022, earned a great deal of buzz as part of Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan's overall deal with Paramount. The season 2 premiere, which dropped in September of 2024, 21.1 million views, becoming the most watched global premiere for the streaming service. The second season currently holds a perfect 100% critical approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That's almost never happened. So I love this show. I know you haven't jumped on it yet, but it's some of the best stuff I've seen Sylvester Stallone do. And I'm thrilled that it's coming back. And he's trying to lure some people in. I think he's trying to get Pacino. He's like, do this before you die. Come on. Like, it's, I mean, will that work? I don't know if that's the pitch you want to go with, Sly, but hey, I really like this show. It's a good blend of mob, but then also kind of like Old West. It kind of like, it's just a really creative way to approach it. And I really like it. So I'm glad it's coming back.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. It's awesome to see like old school television stars make their resurgence, or old school film stars make their
Yeah.
resurgence in television because I feel like, we everybody loves Sylvester Stallone, or at least most people do, I should say. And then I mean, there's a couple of different people. I mean, Arnold's going to television as
Yep.
well. He hasn't been on television in freaking 2 decades, like that type of thing. Like, so it's all very exciting. And I remember it when Tulsa King first came out, and Sylvester was like, "Man, I didn't realize how much television stars have to work." But
Yeah.
now he's seeing that success, and I mean, it's paying off for him. So that's really nice to see. But I mean, speaking of Taylor Sheridan, of course, he knows how to pick them. That's for sure, because him and his buddy John Papsadera are freaking amazing at finding talent.
They are.
Because following her breakout role on the Paramount Plus series 1883, Isabel May is going from the frontier to the football stadium as she is in negotiations to join David Cornsweat, aka Superman himself, in the Sky Dance sports football drama Mr. Irrelevant. The movie is about John Tuggle, who was given the title after being the last pick of the last round of the 1983 NFL draft. That's
Yes.
freaking fantastic, man. Again, we say this all the time, and we said this, like, I believe on our first episode back of the year. Paramount Plus, I think, though they like their procedurals, they are doing the best job, in my opinion, at coming up with original content to show on their television and streaming
Yeah.
platforms. So I'm excited to see this. This sounds very freaking interesting, and Isabel is an amazing actress, so it's going to be a hit for
Oh,
sure.
without doubt. And I mean, it just shows that Papsadera is loyal, right?
Oh
Corn
yeah,
Sweat, because if you guys didn't know, Papsadera cast Superman as well. So,
yes,
Yeah, I just loved it. And yeah, initially everybody thought this thing was going to be about Brock Purdy, but no, John Tuggle, the original
The
Mr.
original
Irrelevant.
Mr. Relevant.
That's right. Okay, we're jumping over to NBC Universal. We've got some really good news here. You want to take this? Because I'm excited about the next ones, obviously. I was talking about
For
the next
sure,
ones,
man,
but
for
go.
sure. Wicked, the
Yes.
blockbuster movie musical that earned about 10 Academy Award nominations and $727 million at the worldwide box office. Hey, if you need to have a tax write-off, please let us know. We'll take a little bit of that, just a million.
Just
I
a
mean,
million. Yeah,
yeah,
you know.
just a million. Well, everybody's excited though because it is now available to stream on Peacock. The movie's sing-along version is also available to
Oh,
stream along with a collection of bonus content. Wicked features many fan favorite songs from the Broadway musical, including Popular and Defying Gravity, Dancing Through the Life, and The Wizard and I. So this is very exciting. Wicked was a huge box office success and fandom success because it was
yes.
all over our TikTok social media pages for so freaking long. And no doubt about it, when Wicked 2 comes out, it's going to win some Academy
Without
Awards.
doubt.
So very excited about that.
This the musical. I mean the fan favorite version. I'm the bonus. With stuff. I'm
Yeah.
all in on that. This sounds like a watch slash karaoke party waiting to happen. I'm just saying, all in on that bad boy. I'm also all in on this and have been ever since it debuted because I am that old. I'm of course talking about the venerable Dick Wolf series that just won't die, Law and Order, and its beloved spinoff Law and Order SVU. Well, we've been wanting it, and it's gonna happen. They're once again teaming up on a crossover episode. It's set for Thursday, April 17th from 8 to 10 p.m. on NBC. Now, this 2-hour event will see a mysterious phone call to Captain Benson of the SVU that leads detectives to the scene of a brutal murder. When the SVU and the 2-7 uncover a pattern of rape and murder targeting marginalized women, ADA Carisi and ADA Price team up to charge the suspect with multiple crimes. The only thing I don't like about this is that it's not including the third one, because, with these crossovers, I want to see Benson and Stabler. Right? Yeah. They keep hinting that they're finally going to get together, and yeah. But don't worry, because additionally, following the crossover event, Peacock's Law and Order Organized Crime will also air on NBC, premiering at 10 p.m. with its first 2 episodes. Now, it's temporarily taking Found's time slot. Don't worry, that's not bad news. It's going to air on a special night, Monday, my birthday, April 14th at 10 p.m., then return to its usual Thursday 10 p.m. slot on April 24th. Then, of course, Organized Crime will then shift to premiering all of the rest of its episodes on Peacock. Now, there are going to be 10 one-hour episodes total for this upcoming 5th season. The official description for the 5th season teases that Detective Stabler and the squad will contend with the dangerous worlds of cross-border smuggling, high-tech domestic terrorism, and a crime family intent on repaying Stabler for the injury he did them in Rome. As his worlds collide, Stabler will put everything on the line to protect the vulnerable and fight for justice. But where's Liv? Will he hook up with Liv? That's all we care about. Come on. I'm thrilled that this is finally back, though, because it's been a while. They announced it was moving to Peacock, and then it was like disappeared. I'm like, where's Stabler? Where's Organized Crime? But they're all coming back, guys, and I'm pumped. I can't wait.
There you go, man. There you go. Your list from Santa was delivered. That's
Yes,
for
yes.
sure. That's all you're asking for. Well, NBC is also doing some brand new things because they did pick up a single camera comedy pilot based at a Native American community center. Now, the official log line for the pilot states that it is an ensemble comedy set at a Native American community center in Oakland, California, where the employees hustle to keep the lights on while lifting up those in need. The untitled single camera comedy from writers Sierra Teller Ornelas and Jackie Kalia and Bobby Wilson. Can't forget Bobby. All three of who, of course, are executive producers with Teller Ornelas as the showrunner. This sounds completely different from anything else that is on television right now. So fingers crossed that it continues to have success. That's for sure.
Yeah, and kudos. I think this really original, a comedy centering around Native Americans. I mean, you don't see that very often,
You
and
don't. You
like
don't.
dramas every now and then, but not really comedies. So that's going to be good. All right, jumping over to Sony, who we barely ever have any news on unless it's Spider-Man related. But guess what? We've got something that's not. Molly Gordon and Logan Lerman, who I love Logan Lerman's dark romantic comedy. Oh, hi. Yep, has landed at Sony Pictures Classics. The sophomore feature from The Boy Downstairs writer-director Sophie Brooks debuted at the Sundance Film Festival in January. Now hi! Iris, played by Gordon, and Isaac's Lerman, first romantic weekend getaway as a couple goes awry. Convinced that he's just confused, Iris goes to extreme lengths to prove to him that they are meant to be together. Geraldine Viswanathan and John Reynolds also star in this one. Anytime I think anybody tries to go out of their way to convince you that you should be together, screams that you should not. That's all I'm saying. This one sounds like it'll be good. I love Logan Lerman, so it'll be a good one.
Yes, big facts, big facts. Sony Pictures needs a win, okay, because a lot of their stuff is duds. So they definitely need they need a good juicy milk dud, not a freaking dud. Okay. Anyway, Lionsgate has released a new trailer for Ballerina. Of course, this is the John Wick spin-off movie starring Ana de Armas as a trained killer on the hunt for vengeance. The action, and there's a lot of that. It takes place during the events of John Wick Chapter 3, if you all didn't know. Of course, it follows Eve Marcaro, of course, played by Ana de Armas, who is beginning her training in the assassin traditions of the Ruska Roma. Now, the previous trailer back in September set the stakes very high, and Eve will eventually be running into Reeves, who is John Wick. The trailer spills it. The two will face off in what is sure to be an epic Wiccan showdown. The film is expected to hit theaters June 6th, so that is very freaking exciting. I think this is the most, I don't want to say underrated, I think this is the biggest surprise franchise out of this whole entire past decade, or even maybe decade and a half, because I think when this first film came out, the first original John Wick, they weren't anticipating there to be 4 more and then a spinoff and then also a freaking sequel or a prequel, like limited series. Like, it is kind of crazy how freaking like popular this thing is, but I'm loving it though because Keanu Reeves deserves all the success.
Oh, without doubt. And hello, who doesn't want to see the two of them throw down in a fight? Like,
For sure.
Come on now. She's done some great action stuff, so she can throw down. It's gonna be a good one. All right, let's jump on over to Amazon MGM Studios, where the real question is, what's up with Bond? Where's 007? Well, apparently Amy Pascal, yes, that Amy Pascal, and David Hyman may be enlisted to help Amazon MGM Studios oversee the James Bond franchise. Now, the pair are described as being in talks. No deal can be signed, however, until, of course, the streamer finalizes its pact to buy creative control from Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, the producers whose family has overseen all things 007 for literally decades. Now, Pascal, if you didn't know, is the former head of Sony, and she reinvented herself basically when she left that position and became one of the industry's most successful producers. In that job, she, of course, produced all the Sony Spider-Man films and the Marvel Studios Spider-Man films with Kevin Feige. She also is involved in such hits as Challengers and Little Women. And at Sony, Pascal oversaw the studio's deal to actually distribute several of the Bond movies, including Skyfall, which, of course, as you guys know, was the highest grossing movie in the history of the spy series. So what about this Hyman guy? Why is he involved? Hey, he ain't no slacker. Apparently, he's also familiar with the demands of overseeing massive franchises like Bond, because he played a similar role in the success of all the Harry Potter films, and it's less beloved, but still pretty good, Fantastic Beasts spin-off series. So I like this. These are people who know how to run a franchise, who know how to make it successful, will take good care of it, Now Amazon just needs to hurry up. Are you gonna buy it or are you not gonna buy it? Get the deal done and get us another Bond movie, man. Everybody's waiting and it's like, come on.
Completely agree, man. Completely agree. Well, everybody's been wondering, where's Lily Reinhart? What's
Yeah.
she doing now? Well, she is in talks, actually attached to
Oh.
star and produce a film called Fake Wedding. And this one is under her Small Victories first look deal at Amazon MGM Studios. Now, the project, based on Allie and Anthony Garland's short story, is currently being developed with the twosome penning the screenplay. Now, Fake Wedding follows two broke singles who throw a fake wedding to cash in on the registry and the very real problems that the make believe couple encounters. Man, I get that. The news comes in wake of Reinhardt's movie American Sweatshop world premiering at South by Southwest. And now, the Small Victory is also an executive producer on that specific drama. So kudos to her, man. She's killing it. She's taking more artistic roles. I
Yeah.
love to see that because, a lot of people sell out. I can't blame them because I haven't been in that position, but, to follow your dream, follow your passion, and stories that you truly believe in, it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of courage, especially if you're a young person like Lily Reinhart killing it in the industry.
Oh, without doubt. Can't wait. Can't wait. Because it's been a while. Yeah, we're excited to see her again. This is exciting, too. Kai Castor from Yellowstone has apparently booked a guest role in Amazon's Marvel series, Spider Noir. Castor plays a secret character with a special connection to a previously announced character, but they won't tell us which one. And if they told us which star, we'd know which character, and they didn't tell us any of that. From executive producers, of course, and co-showrunners Oren Uziel and Steve Lightfoot, and Sony Pictures TV, Spider Noir tells the story of an aging and down-on-his-luck private investigator, played by the one and only Nicolas Cage, in 1930s New York, who is forced to grapple with his past life as the city's one and only superhero. You guys saw it. I mean, he was there for a little stretch in the comic books. He was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think this is going to do really well. Now there's talks that they might actually shoot this thing in black and white and have it like be full on black, which I hope, because that did good for Werewolf, for Marvel. I mean, I think it can survive in black and white and be fine. Let's see it, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. They've been talking about this thing for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
So I'm really hoping we can get somewhere with it and finally get it out there. That's for sure. Well, we're heading over to the streaming juggernaut that is Netflix, and Chalamet, Adam Sandler, is back on the golf course in the official trailer for Happy Gilmore 2, which also reveals the long-awaited comedy sequel, and it will begin streaming July 25th on Netflix. While the Netflix logline for Happy Gilmore 2 keeps the storyline a mystery, it simply reads, Happy Gilmore is back. The new trailer shows Sandler's character having some doubts about facing off against a few PGA heavyweights, but he returns to the golf course with confidence, and all hell breaks loose. Joining Sandler in the sequel are returning cast members, of course, Julie Bowen, Christopher McDonald, and Ben Stiller, plus newcomers such as Baboni, Travis Kelce, and Sandler's daughters, Sadie and Sunny, making it a whole family affair. Real passionate golfers, John Daly, Scotty Schaefer, Roy McIlroy, Branson, DeChambeau, and more will also be featured in this film. It was a great trailer. I'm not gonna lie. I'm super excited about it. I'm just hoping, okay, comparison time. Let's talk about it. Long-awaited sequels. Last one, Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop, and now this one. In your opinion, because I didn't watch the Axel Foley one, how did this long-awaited installment in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise compared to what the originals were?
I loved it. There were all kinds of nods to the original, all three Beverly Hills Cop movies. It was intentionally brought, I think, to pay tribute to and close out that franchise. And I thought they did a really good job by, like I said, little Easter eggs and mentions throughout of the previous movies and characters in the previous movies. And I think it was a really good way to send off Foley.
So
So
hopefully they do the same with Happy Gilmore too.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
So
And if we
because I'm
don't
always
see,
worried, man, because freaking Netflix's movies, they're very lukewarm sometimes, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
especially when they're like beloved franchises or beloved cult classic films like Happy Gilmore, any of Adam Sandler's like early cult classics. Like, I'm just hoping they do it justice. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think, thankfully Foley happened and it was a nice send off for John Ashton, who passed away
Yeah.
right after it came out, which, and I hope that this pays tribute to Carl Weathers and Bob Barker, two
Yeah.
legends that were in the first, of course.
Hmm.
If they don't make mention of them, epic fail, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that has to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, Speaking of a remake, I'm not sure is necessary, but I'm kind of interested because this movie did terrify the fuck out of me as a kid. Darren Aronofsky is apparently circling Netflix's Cujo, a remake of Stephen King's horror novel, of course, about the bloodthirsty Saint Bernard. The film remains in early stages of development, and Aronofsky has yet to have a creative meeting with Netflix, according to sources familiar with the project. Should the deal close, though, the film would mark Aronofsky's first, yes, I said it, feature for the streaming service. Now, Roy Lee from Barbarian was apparently attached to produce Cujo, which was announced earlier in March and has yet to attach a writer or actors. Now, if you guys didn't know, King's 1981 book about a mother and a son who literally, yes, get trapped in their car while protecting themselves from a rabid killer dog was first adapted to the screen in 1983. The film earned $21 million worldwide against just a $6 million budget, so it was a huge hit. And it was fucking terrifying. I was 13, and yeah, I was scared to death of dogs for a little while after. And I'm like, holy shit. Nobody, you don't want a big old St. Bernard coming at you that's rabid and wants to eat you. And now, of course, it became so pop culture, over the decade. Whenever you now see a killer dog or a crazy dog that's got rabies or just Cujo, they're called Cujo. Oh shit, that dog went Cujo. This is what it's about. That's where Cujo comes from. So, this may work. It may not. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm curious. Does Steven think it's a good idea? I don't know. But, we'll see.
It's an interesting swing, that's for sure.
It
It's
is. It is.
It's not one that I thought would ever be, that. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
I mean, he's got a lot of horror stories. We're picking Cujo.
He does, man.
Come on.
the stories don't stop. That's for sure. Kind of like Bob Dylan's discography. That's for sure.
Did Cujo? The real question is: did Cujo end up in Pet Sematary?
That's the question. They're all linked, man.
They could merge. Oh my god, they could do a merge where Cujo comes back from Pet Sematary. Oh shit, Darren, call me.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll rewrite King's shit. It'll be fine. He'll appreciate it. It'll be
fine.
great.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't see us or anything. It's okay. It's fine.
We'll just bring him to McAllister's. Is that what you always said? We'll just come on,
exactly,
Steven.
Exactly.
Join us with the other Steven, and we'll just all go to McAllister's. It's fine.
Exactly. It's fine. Well, we're rounding out the industry news segment with Apple taking a sweet bite out of life. Severance will be returning for the third season. Of course, they renewed the series, which comes from creator, writer, and executive producer Dan Erickson, and of course, director and executive producer Ben Stiller, as its season 2 finale launched today on the service. Apple CEO Tim Cook revealed the news through social media, exchanged with Stiller, writing season 3 of Severance available on request.
That's hilarious.
The news comes after Severance surpassed Ted Lasso to become the streamer's most watched series ever and appeared in the Nielsen streaming reports for 5 consecutive weeks, with a new weekly high of 681 million minutes viewed worldwide. So that is freaking amazing. This is one that I have not jumped on yet.
Me
man.
either.
I really want to.
Yeah, apparently we have to watch. It's funny. We were just talking about it on last week's show. Did we think it would match the popularity and/or exceed Ted Lasso? Apparently, it did.
Yes. Yes.
The answer is yes. Apparently, could be why Ted Lasso's coming back. Sudeikis is like, wait a minute, hold up,
Like, hold on.
But I'm glad to see it though. Apparently, this is a very original concept. It's catching all different kinds of demographics of people. It seems to be liked by everybody. So, yeah, I think at some point we're going to have to check that bad boy out.
I know, right? At some point.
We only watch 84 shows right now. Like, what
Exactly.
the fuck? Come on.
Exactly. Well, now we're heading over to the top 5 segment, man. And this one, it's juicy. Because this week it is top 5 memorable monologues from film or television. Man, oh man, there's a lot of good ones out there. So
There
it's really hard to
is.
freaking try to pick.
I could have literally stacked this thing with like 25 of them.
At least.
Like,
Me too.
literally, like, or more. Yeah, I'm just all in. I can't wait to tell you, because I think that this list between the two of us, a lot of people are going to be like, yes. So,
completely agree, man. It's
yeah.
freaking awesome. But yeah, I think my number 5 is very relevant in today's time period, and it just came out this past week on Daredevil episode 4. And I'm talking about Charlie Hudson III, a previous guest on both podcasts, our Everything's Okay podcast and ITCAF podcast. Oh my goodness, guys. His freaking monologue in episode 4 is absolutely amazing. Talking about poverty and what it's like to be someone who is less fortunate than others, and going through the process of everyday life of just trying to scrape to make it by. And just, I love his delivery of this thing. I love his dynamic with Charlie Cox. I think they had a great repertoire back and forth. But it just really hit home, because I know you and I both, growing up, we didn't always have everything we always needed. So it's something that a lot of people can relate to in current day times and in future day times, sadly. But it's a monologue that I think will always be relevant in society. And so I just had to put it on the list. So yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, please go watch just that scene, Daredevil episode 4, for Charlie Hudson III's freaking monologue.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. And he talks about how the system works against you instead of trying to help you. And yeah, his delivery was so, because it starts off comedic. He's basically making fun of, Matt and being blind and like, but then gets real serious about, about what it is and how he lives life and how he's basically been fucked his whole life. And like, yeah, it's really, really good scene. The writing in that whole episode, just unbelievable. I got one I got one on my list too.
Freaking Charlie Cox was like, yeah, we'll see what I can do. And Charlie's just like, ha, I get it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because you're blind.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's so funny. Like how he approaches just the whole back and forth delivery was hilarious. Okay. My number 5, I could have picked 25 monologues from this film alone, because there were so many in this film. I'm talking about The Breakfast Club, but the one I specifically went with was when Bender goes off talking about his dad. This is the one where he starts off making fun of Anthony Michael Hall's character, talking about how he's got the perfect little cushy life, and he's, oh, but Dad, I need this. And then it goes into about how his life at home is. And it just, it talks about the abuse and how he abuses the mother and how he's, he's called a piece of shit and worthless. And it just, it ramps up so high, and then it hits this moment, when he finally stands up to his dad and he's like, no, fuck you, but what about you, Dad? And it just, I think it was so powerful, because there are so many families where that is taking place, and where at some point the young male has to confront the abusive dad because he's the only one that can do it, and it's where the role shifts, and I feel like, And then, yeah, it's just so powerful. And then how he's discounted at the end. Like, they don't even believe, they think he's making it up to try to make himself look tougher, kind of a thing. And you realize throughout the film that he's not making it up, that this is his life, that he's been dealt. Just a very powerful monologue where it just kind of plays off of, it goes in a direction you don't think it's going. You know, he's making fun, and then all of a sudden it's just him, and it's about him, and it's just so... Judd Nelson, just phenomenal. I mean, it was a beautifully written scene, but his performance, just unreal. You just... It's gut-wrenching. You feel for him. You just, you know... Because he's kind of the guy you want to hate initially in Breakfast Club, but then that scene, you're like, fuck, I love this guy. I feel so bad for him. Oh, kind of a thing. So, anyway, my number 5, John Bender from The Breakfast Club.
Yes, such a good scene, man. Such a good freaking scene. My number 4 goes to, well, I can't even talk about it because we can't talk about Fight Club. I'm talking about Brad Pitt and Fight Club. That's right. Number 1 rule of Fight Club, can't talk about Fight Club.
That's right.
Number 2 rule in Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club.
Yes.
That whole thing, man. I mean, this is it was before its time. That's for sure. The huge impact that it made on this cinematic universe, I think, just it paved the way for so many different types of exploratory films that deal with mental health and what's true, what's not, what's going on in your own head, and like just honestly freaking domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
But I just think that what this film was able to do and what Brad Pitt's portrayal was like, it was enticing to something bad, you know, to be able to pull you in to a community that you never had before, to be a part of something. Well, this really just clicking in my head right now. He fucking started a cult and they were doing some crazy shit. He's Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
Like, I just like, it's wild. If you guys haven't seen Fight Club, come on. Where have you been all of your life? But yeah, that was very impactful. And I think this is honestly one of the first films that people started taking Brad Pitt seriously as a dramatic actor, because he always came off as the pretty boy. You know, I think Interview with a Vampire did pretty well. But I think this film, everybody started taking him seriously. So number 4 for me, Brad Pitt and Fight Club.
Yeah, I'm glad you put it on the list because, and I agree with you, it's one of those movies that really first kind of opened the doors to talk about mental health. Yeah. It's basically a really stark look at what's real and what isn't. And, you know, forces you to take a look. And I'm talking about, like, in your head, what's real and what isn't. It really forces the issue there. And, yeah, it's just, whew, man. Okay, my number 4, we're jumping back to Daredevil Born Again, episode 4. Because the writing in this thing was just brilliant. But the delivery... Okay, mine is John Bernthal and Charlie Cox, as, of course, Matt Murdock and Frank Castle. And it's when Matt comes back up and finds Frank, and they haven't seen each other since the Netflix season 2, like, so it's been like 5, 6 years, 7 years since they've seen each other. And holy shit, this is a master class in fucking acting. John Bernthal, like, he basically, sorry, spoiler alert, big spoiler alert if you haven't started watching it yet. Foggy dies, and Matt is having a hard time acknowledging the fact that he's dead. He's carrying Foggy with him in his pocket. He's hearing Foggy talk to him, but he can't address the grief. And he won't say his name, and he's having a real... And Frank just basically calls him out on his shit, saying, what the fuck are you doing? You got to address that shit. You got to do what you do, because if you can't take care of it, you know, it's going to eat away at you. And it's just the back and forth. Bernthal,
so good.
This man, like, I've never seen anything like the way he performs. It's just when in The Bear, the episode at the Christmas table, I'm thinking that's the best monologue, straight on, 8-minute, 9-minute straight dialogue from Bernthal that I've ever seen in my life, from any actor. Then he follows it up with the next season where he's having an 8-minute conversation of straight dialogue in that. And I'm like, this is the best straight up dialogue I've ever heard. And then he comes with this. And it's just, and Charlie Cox, don't get me wrong. Oh my God, the way he plays off of him, where Frank just eats him up until the anger comes out and bam, and then, oh shit, I'm sorry. Why do you have the, and just the back and forth. But for me, it's just Frank saying, it's always with you. It's the reason I do it. I hear my son every day. It's why I do it. And just taking the offense that he took to being called a victim and it just, oh my God, you have to watch this episode and you have to watch these scenes because I could go on forever about this dialogue back and forth between them. But when Frank goes off and he's basically saying, here's why I'm Punisher, here's why you need to be fucking Daredevil and don't come at me with your shit. Yeah. Number 4, John Bernthal and Charlie Cox as Frank and Matt, Daredevil Born Again. Just fuck, man.
It's so good when he's like, say his name.
Yeah,
and he's just like, you came here for me to tell you that it's okay to be red.
Yeah,
that's why you came here.
Oh
it was that whole scene is so fucking good.
When he gets all angry, he's like, I don't have time for your. He's just like, you're like he's gonna, he's just gonna cap his ass. He's like, I don't have fucking time for you. It's like just shit. That man, I'm gonna say it. It's unreal because a couple of the people that I have on my list going up, I think John Bernthal might be the greatest actor of this generation, honestly, and is just not getting recognized.
Agreed.
I just, how this man doesn't have Emmys and Oscars out the ass, I don't know, because this man never fails to deliver, ever. So, I don't know, man. It's just crazy.
It's so good, man. It's so good. Number 3 for me goes to Julia Stiles in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
When she's going through her list in class about Heath Ledger's character and how this is basically about love and everything that gets under your skin about your partner, everything that you you despise about them, but you're not going to change anything about them because you love them so much. So you have to everybody has to deal with each other's baggage when you come into a relationship and when you come into a union. So I think that's what this particular freaking scene represents, is just dealing with each other's baggage, And I mean, going through the whole thing it's such a beautiful scene, and I love how they end it with the 10th thing I hate about you is that I don't hate you, not even a little bit, not even at all. And it's so powerful in that whole scene when she's just looking him straight in the eyes and just, it's a great freaking movie. Probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I still have that one on repeat. But yeah, if y'all haven't watched that monologue, it's so freaking good. Number 3 for me, Julia Stiles in 10 Things I Hate About You.
So good. She's so stellar. She's another one that I feel like is highly underrated. She just kills it. My number 3, I don't have to say a whole lot about because everybody on the face of the planet has seen it. Everybody on the face of the planet quotes it. Everybody basically knows the entire fucking monologue from start to finish. I can't because it's that good. If John Bernthal is the greatest actor of our generation, quite possibly, my next 2 cement the fact that Aaron Sorkin is the greatest fucking writer of this generation, maybe ever. I'm just saying. My number 3, of course, is Colonel Jessup, Jack Nicholson himself, in A Few Good Men. Now, you could pick a series of monologues that this man delivers, but I'm talking specifically about the courtroom scene, where deep down inside, in places you don't want to talk about, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. It's a back and forth, and I'll give Cruise credit, the back and forth in that monologue, but it's really when Jessup goes off on his single rant talking about this is why he does what he does and how he defends it, and it's a necessary evil for somebody to stand on that wall and fucking kill people, and he doesn't regret ever doing it, kind of a thing. When he goes off on that tangent, he's not wrong.
not.
but then, there's a way to do it, Jessup, and that's not it. But it's just so good. Sorkin is such an amazing writer, and of course, Jack Nicholson, definitely one of the greatest actors of all time. And just the way this thing's pulled off is just unreal. My number 3, Colonel Jessup, A Few Good Men, and yeah, he fucking ordered the code red.
It's so freaking good, man. It's so freaking good. Maybe that's our top 5 next week. Top 5 actors that we think are the best of all time. From like all generations, because he's definitely in the top 5.
Has to
he's
be.
Probably in yours too. Like, oh man.
Damn, that's a tough one, bro. Like,
I
you're bringing hard ones right there. Like, I have to start thinking about it. I'm done. You finish the show. I gotta go start thinking. Like,
literally.
Man,
well, we both know that he's gonna be on both of our.
Well,
lists,
no doubt.
But yeah, fuck, it's gonna be hard.
It is.
Anyway, number 2 for me goes to Taraji P. Henson in Hidden Figures.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness, I love this monologue because Taraji's character in this particular film, it's about NASA and getting to the moon, racing to the moon, before Russia gets there, and we're trying to figure out the mathematical equations. And of course, her character is the smartest woman in the room, but it is during segregation time, so there's a lot of that underlying conflict throughout the entire film. And Kevin Costner is absolutely amazing in this film and how he portrays his character and his reactions to everything. But this particular film, talking about she's not at her post as much as she needs to be because she is such a vital person throughout this whole entire process, because she has to walk like 2.5 miles across campus where they're at to use the restroom. And fucking that entire thing, in the coffee pot, nobody wants to drink out of her coffee pot. It's very emotional. It's very, very tense, and it's very, very impactful. Like, thinking about it now, I'm trying to hold back tears because it's so freaking good. And it won her the Oscar, which rightfully so. So yes, if you guys have not freaking seen Hidden Figures, please do yourself a favor and watch that freaking film. It's absolutely phenomenal. Taraji P. Henson, Kevin Costner, lady from Ma, Olivia Spencer, is that her name?
Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer. So it's an amazing cast, amazing story, and an amazing monologue. So please do yourself a favor and go watch that. Yes, 2, Taraji P. Henson, Hidden Figures.
So good. That's another one who's highly underrated. She just is phenomenal. I mean, everybody talks about Cookie, but she had so many other roles, this one included, that are like just stellar. Okay, my number 2 and my number 1 are intentional, and it's because they are both correct about America. Very drastically different, and yet both absolutely correct about America. My number 2, played brilliantly by Jeff Daniels, is Will McAvoy's rant about America in the newsroom. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive this was the opening scene of the pilot episode. So this is the first thing that hits you of this show, and Sorkin's brilliance is on full display. It's basically, he's on a panel, and the commentator is basically taking questions from the audience, and the one girl asks all of the panel people, why is America the greatest country in the world? And the other ones give like these answers about, freedom and you blah, and the other one is like, because we blah blah blah. And Will refuses to answer it. He said, well, I'm just not going to go there. I don't think that's necessary for me to answer. And the commentator eggs him on about, oh, no, we really want to hear you answer this. And then that's it. Boom. And he goes, well, if you want to know, we're not the greatest country in the world. In fact, and then he just goes. It's like a 3 or 4 minute monologue about where he just rips it apart about how we're this in education and this in healthcare and this and this and this, and how other countries compare to us and why the government is the way it is, and just, tears it up. Everything he says, completely accurate. Just, from start to finish, just whoom. Then attacks the poor girl, saying, if you ever do find yourself stepping into a booth, and voting, it's brilliant. It's Sorkin at his best, hands down. And Jeff Daniels just, as Will Mack, I was blown away. I'm like, fuck. That is the most real commentary on the state of America I have ever seen. That is a guy that you wish a politician would get up and say that. He's a news anchor in the show, but you just wish we would get a guy that's running or a woman that would actually say that shit about, we're not the shining, beacon on the hill anymore. We've got to get back to that. But oh my God, if you guys haven't watched The Newsroom, it's only 3 seasons. Sorkin left because he was getting ready to write a film and couldn't commit, and he didn't want the show to continue if he couldn't write all the episodes. But trust me, this is a monologue and if you don't want to go back and watch the whole series, just type in Will McAvoy rant in Google, and it'll come up, and you'll be like, fuck. It's so good, man. It's probably one of the best things I've ever seen, television or film. So there it is, my number 2. Will McAvoy, played by Jeff Daniels in The Newsroom.
You have to mention Jeff Daniels, too. He's got to be in the top 10 because his drastic difference between The Newsroom and Dumb and Dumber.
Wild, Will McAvoy compared to Dumb and Dumber, you wouldn't even think it's the same actor. It's so drastically different. And
exactly. And then fucking the Comey Rule and He is so freaking good and highly not talked about enough right now.
Agreed.
Definitely not talked about enough. My number 1 pick comes from one of my favorite films of all time, my second or third favorite film, probably my second. And I'm talking about Gary Oldman's speech as Commissioner Gordon in The Dark Knight. This one, when he's talking to his son, when he's like, and why will we chase him, Dad? Talking about just because we have to. We have to continue bringing balance to the force, the world, just because he is technically a vigilante and he is breaking the law, but he is also breaking it for the right reasons.
Yes.
And talking about, do you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain? And that right there is so good. I know that's not from Gary Oldman, but talking about just what it's like to try to do some goodness in the world, even if you have to throw out the rule book every now and then. It's heart-wrenching, it's empowering, and it's one of those things that gets you going, man. That's for sure. So I had to put it on my list, of course. But yeah, number 1 for me, Gary Oldman in The Dark Knight.
I mean, hard to argue. Good. Hard to argue that. Just Oldman maybe needs to be on the list too. As one of the greatest actors of all time.
It's so hard to try to do this list.
And Nolan may be one of the greatest writers of all time. I just maybe that should be a follow-up. Here's the greatest writers and greatest actors. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. My number 1. If you follow me, this had to be on the list because I post it every year. This is if Will McAvoy told you everything that's wrong with America and why we're not great, President Whitmore tells you everything that's right about America and why we are the beacon that everybody hopes to be and lead the world in where everybody wants to go. And I'm talking about, of course, his speech in Independence Day when he's firing up the crowd and talking about how America's going to save the fucking earth. And he rallies the whole world behind America and to go take down the bad guy. And I feel like that is the epitome of what America is meant to be. I mean, it's clearly a speech about going to kick ass on aliens, but there's more behind it. The context of that speech is to rally people around what America is supposed to stand for. There's a reason it was called Independence Day. There's a reason it was released on Independence Day. And there's a reason this speech is in Independence Day. It was clearly meant for that purpose, and it works every time. If you can listen to that speech and not get fired up about being American, there's something wrong with you. It just makes you want to go wrap yourself in a fucking flag every time you hear it. And it's just... Yeah, I mean, I don't even have to talk about it because everybody knows it. Everybody's heard it. It's another one of those, like, on the 4th of July, you are playing that fucking speech. You know you are, or you're watching that movie. Don't even say you're not, because I guarantee you are. My number one, President Whitmore, of course, by Bill Pullman and Independence Day. Just, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Going through this all of these lists, I was literally tearing up because I'm recounting each of these monologues and they're
Yes.
so damn good. We just love good writing. Really, like yeah, like my nose is stuffy because I'm like trying to fight back tears because of all of this great freaking writing. There's so much good
It
stuff
just gets
out
you
there.
fired up. I
It
mean,
does.
and you know me, I like good monologue. I can talk. So
Yeah,
anytime you
exactly.
get a good dialogue driven monologue that hits me for 4 or 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Well, we want to know, what is your most memorable monologue from either a film or a television show? Please be sure to comment down below in the comment section. Add us on Twitter, Threads, or any of the good places. Be sure to do so. Now we are heading over to the box office recap, where it was a little lackluster. We talked a little bit about it on social media, and I wish the number one spot had a little bit more legs
Yeah.
because I bet it's probably a decent film that did not get marketed enough. I'm talking about Novocaine. It came in at number one with $8.7 million.
Yep.
Following that, and the number two spot was Mickey 17 with $7.5 million. Tied for second in the third spot was Black Bag with $7.5 million. Captain America Brave New World still trying to soar high for Dustin's box office draft with $5.5 million. And then number five, The Day the Earth Blew Up, the one we were talking about in the industry news, a Looney Tunes movie with
Yeah, I
3.2.
think this is the last week we're going to see Cap in the top five. I'm just saying it. And I think
I
it's
think
going to
so too.
finish its run just under 400 million, which I'll take. I mean,
It's not bad.
no, it's not bad. They consider it a failure for Marvel, but I'll
Yeah.
take it. I think that works well into my draft. I'm
Mhm.
going to take it, so we'll see.
For sure, for sure. Well, there are more things than Snow White coming out this weekend. The Alto Knights, which is Robert De Niro playing two different roles,
Yeah.
but fun fact, it's a mobster film, but fun fact, all of the behind the scenes people who got this thing made are like 80 plus years old. I think like the writer is like 82 and then the producer is 92. Like there's some old motherfuckers and the writer is actually David Zaslav's friend. So that's
Yeah.
the only reason this bitch got made.
Yeah.
Um
Well, and this is
anyway,
interesting too, because this is the one that I think is eating into your Snow White. This
yeah,
one's
like
actually getting really good word of mouth, and I think while it might not come in number one, I think it's going to have some legs because it apparently people are talking about this one.
yeah, it'll be interesting because the tracking's only tracking about like $5 million.
Yeah,
So you will see how it does, man. We'll see how it does. All the dads who don't want to go see Snow White, they're gonna leave their kids at home and go see Alto Knights. Thanks, David Zaslav. Thanks. Some more films coming out this weekend. Ash Magazine Dreams with
Jonathan
Jonathan
Major. Yeah,
Majors trying to revamp his career, and I must say he's doing a decent job at pushing the narrative of him trying to come back to Hollywood. And you notice that every couple months he keeps mentioning Marvel, like, I would love to come back. I love those guys. He's trying really hard. So it'll be interesting if they backpedal on that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. And then Locked. Locked is also coming out in select theaters near you. But there are some movies you can still go see that are in your local cineplexes. Opus, Paddington in Peru, Dogman, Last Breath, and The Monkey, which is already out on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely hilarious. Now heading over to the top trending segment, IMDb Pro's top trending segment. Mickey 17 is still being talked about a lot, so it's still the top trending movie. The top trending TV show is The White Lotus, of course. And then the top trending star is Amy Lou Wood. So it all makes sense, man. It
Yeah.
all freaking makes sense. Well, anyway, guys, we got to thank you one more time for listening to episode 289 of ITCAF Podcast. Of course, you guys know you can follow us on all social media platforms. The company is at Crazy Ant Media. This podcast is at ITCAFpodcast.
Yes.
Our mental health podcast is at Everything's OKP. There will be new episodes dropping here soon.
Yep.
Don't fret, don't fret. We had to take our own mental health break. That's for sure.
Correct.
And then, of course, you guys know you can follow us both personally on social media. Myself at JLoganAustin and
At Crazy Ant CEO.
that's right, man. That's right. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. Basically, anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can find us there.
Yes.
And then, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're watching this video, thank you. Hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And please be sure to leave comments, too. We love the fan interaction, good or bad. Let's have a conversation. Man, please come on. And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got shirts, we got hats, we got a little bit of something for a little bit of everyone.
Yes, we do.
That's for sure. Man, oh man, talk about a jam-packed show. I loved the industry news segment, man. We got to talk about so much, and I honestly did not think I was going to get so choked up about our top 5.
Yeah,
man.
no, me
Shit.
either, but there it is, right? Like, come on. And yeah, it was nice to have a robust industry news because the industry's just been so slow lately and not a lot.
Yes.
So I hope this is a sign that we had so much to talk about, meaning that the industry we're going to see start really getting ramped up and go into the summer and hopefully have a big run this year with the film and television industry. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But yeah, man, I love it. I loved the industry news. I loved our top 5. Just everything about this one, man. It was a good one. It was a good one.
Completely agree. Completely agree. And all the up and coming filmmakers out there, if you want to be a filmmaker, please be sure to tune in next week because we have 2 amazing individuals coming on the show to talk about their projects.
Yes.
And man, oh man, they're well ahead of their time. That is for sure. I just wanted to give you a little tease, so stay tuned next week for that. And of course, you guys know we love the one, the only
Oprah!